Om Tare Turi Soha. Om Tare Turi Soha.
Good evening, friends, Tashidele. I'm very pleased to be here in Singapore and particularly to meet all of you again. And this has become almost a ritual every year. I'm able to see all of you again. And today I'm very, very pleased because we are discussing a very important teachings by Kadampa Master, particularly Gharwang. And this happened on Vesak Day. According to Tibetan calendar, today is the Vesak Day. So let me begin by saying Happy Vesak Day to all of you. About almost 30 years ago, when I was very, very young, I'm still young, very, very young, I received this teaching from Kenshin Chodatembe Rinpoche. And because of all of you, I have this opportunity to go through again and again. And even then, I'm still learning something new every day. And this is the teaching that I'm not sharing just in Asia, many parts of Asia. Next month, I'll be sharing this teaching in Europe, followed by America and Canada. So indeed, I'm also learning a lot from these advice. And definitely we won't be able to discuss everything this trip because we just have 3 sessions for discussions. Definitely when I come next year, then most likely definitely we'll complete the whole text. This is not just listening to teaching, but in fact it involves a lot of practice. And this is where we can see all the differences. During this 3 sessions, we will also spend a lot of time to reflect and meditate while we are discussing this topic. When I was going through the teachings, point by point, I was able to see who I am as a person. We always ask, Rinpoche, how do I practice? Did I practice right? Or am I doing okay in my practice? And this is the way you have all the answers. When I go through, I say, definitely I have this faults. Definitely I need to improve this part. Okay, this is how I should see life. Seeing life from different perspective. So for me, it is a true mirror to see myself, how I look like. I would say this is the teaching to make even our life more meaningful. Like for instance, every day we need to breathe. Without breathing, we can't really survive. Oxygen is a very important part of our life. But when you engage the technique from 7 points of mind training, even your breathing becomes beneficial to oneself and others. So these are the techniques that you will learn throughout this discussion. The teaching which beautifies our mind, which is more profound and is ageless, more profound and ageless. Today a lot of people, I heard a lot of people goes to Korea for plastic surgery to make yourself beautiful. I mean, there's nothing wrong. If you look beautiful and handsome, I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, everybody should look beautiful and handsome, But what I'm saying here is not just to look outwardly, but what is also important is to have, look beautifully inwardly. I think that's what this teaching talks about, explains about. And I have a friend in LA, and he's a plastic surgeon. And he said, Rinpoche, I think I need to make your nose, He said, my nose is not so good. Do you think my nose is okay? He said he can do something to make my nose good. I said, okay, I'm this time okay. So unfortunately, I don't have a Chinese book in Chinese version. I was just able to come up with this English version. It's very clear, and in fact, this book is edited by Wisdom editor from Wisdom Publication. So it's really good, and if you wish to have this book, we have an English version, but Chinese version will be next time when I come. So now I have an English version. Before I go into detail, I would like to share a little bit about this history behind this teaching and the gurus who have shared this thought with us. Because I think it's very, very important, because today there are so many self-claimed teachers, and I mean there's nothing wrong, but the right way to practice will be to follow the right lineage, a proper lineage. There's the tree, the family tree that you can follow, and without the family tree, then the lineage may not be so pure. So this is what emphasized by many gurus in Vajrayana tradition. Therefore, I would like to relate a few stories where this teaching all came about. So the whole discussion, actually, part of Kadamba's teachings, and of course, Shikawa. Later, we will know who is the Shikawa. But before I begin with the discussion, I would like to refer to Atisha. Atisha is the main guru who taught about Kadamba teachings. Atisha was a great scholar from India. He was one of the scholars from Pitamanashila, one of the very famous schools in India. Since young, like when he was 19 years old, he was able to communicate with Tara and many other deities. And he was a very accomplished as a practitioner. But somehow, he felt that he needed to develop love and compassion, or we call it a mind of awakening or bodhicitta. So Atisha had many teachers, but mainly 3 teachers. Like for instance, Selingpa is from Indonesia, is from Jambi, who built Borobudur stupa in Indonesia. And he was known for bodhicitta, love and compassion. He was known for his bodhicitta, the mind awakened one. And Atisha also said, because of him, today he has bodhicitta because of Selingpa. So Selingpa is one of his masters. It took, according to history, story, Atisha took 12 years to reach, Indonesia. And under the guidance of Selingpa, he spent 12 years in Indonesia. But today, if you imagine, people complain even to travel like one day or travel a few hours, they're too difficult, So you can imagine the dedication that the students seem to have and the teachers seem to have, And Dharma Rakshita was another highly accomplished guru who was invited to Tibet. And, he was highly accomplished, realized being. And how he realized the truth is through the practice of love and compassion, love and compassion. And he is also the second teacher of Atisha, main teacher. And finally, Maitreya, again, there's another guru. He was so well practiced that he was able to take away the suffering of others. we call it practice of Tong, and what we will learn later, he was able to truly take the suffering of others. So these are the main teachers that Atisha studied under guidance of these teachers. So now, how this teaching came, Atisha was from India, and at that time, what happened during the 11th century, Lang Dharma was we consider as an evil king in Tibet. He destroyed Buddhism almost to none. Buddhism was almost disappeared in Tibet, in continent. So the king, Yishiwe, king known as Yishiwe, so he invited Atisha. Then there are many others who want Atisha to visit Tibet and reestablish Buddhism. So Atisha was not sure because he doesn't speak Tibetan, he only speaks Sanskrit and Pali. So he traveled to Bodh Gaya, not the main stupa. And next to the main stupa, there's a small, like a sort of like a cave, left side of the main Bodhi temple. There's a statue, Tara statue. So he request Tara to guide him, So Tara said, you should go to Tibet, and you will be great beneficial to Tibetan there, So then he decided to travel to Tibet, even though, he could not speak the language, even though going through all the difficulty, he traveled to Tibet for the sake of reestablishing Buddhism. I have slides on the wall, so if you can see, hopefully it's not too far. Okay, so when Atisha reached Tibet, Buddhism was almost non-existing. So he decided to teach about refuge. So he was always emphasizing on refuge, and sometimes like today they got bored. So Atisha got a nickname called Refuge Guru. Even though he was very qualified, but he only taught refuge because he thought it's very important. So they give a nickname, Refuge Guru. Like today, there's nothing wrong to learn about Mahamudra, learn about Dzogpa Chempa. It's very profound. However, we have to be very qualified. Without any qualification, if you try to jump very high, and if you fall, you're going to really hurt yourself very badly. So it is important. I know we are living in a technology age. We want everything fast, like 3-in-1, noodle, 3-in-1 coffee. So we want everything fast, but the practice doesn't work this way. Practice needs a lot of patience. A lot of right effort. So only through then you will see the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. We all every day we offer water bowl, cup of water to Buddha. And Atisha is the one who started this in Tibet. There's a reason behind this. Atisha was observing how people make offering, how people practice in Tibet. So Atisha learned that in Tibet, a lot of people offer butter lamb. They offer expensive things to Buddhas, put on altars. But then there seems to have an attachment. Butter is expensive, yeah? Like today, we may go to the supermarket and say expensive fruits. Oh, I need to offer, but it's too expensive, yeah? And then I'm struggling with it. Should I offer or I shouldn't offer, I should not offer. And then we said, okay, I will offer. Maybe today I will put on table, Buddha's table. Tomorrow I will eat it for my breakfast. So we always tend to have a self-interest involved when we make even offering. So Atisha thought that this was not the right way to offer, So Atisha said, better offer water, pure water, because water is free. There's no attachment at all. Buddha doesn't mind, Buddha does not differentiate between water and expensive fruit. Whatever you offer in Buddha, if you offer expensive, then Buddha will never smile to you, okay? Even if you don't offer, Buddha will not get angry at you, So it's for us, So if you offer water, I'm not saying that you shouldn't offer expensive things, You should, but make sure that there's no attachment, okay? So, okay, now Kadamba tradition, why it is so profound? There are three traditions combined input of three different traditions into one tradition. So let me explain briefly, then we will go to the main discussion, okay? It is called lineage of profound philosophy. Of course, this lineage originated from Buddha Shakyamuni, and Nagarjuna is the one who propagated this lineage, and of course Manjushri, and there are many other gurus, okay? This lineage talks mainly about emptiness, the second turning wheel of Dharma, emptiness, and there are many others. And this is mainly practiced by Gelupa, of course one can say in the four schools in Tibet. And the second lineage is not the lineage of vast activity. Lineage of vast activity. This lineage comes from Buddha Shakyamuni, and Asanga is the main guru who holds this lineage. And this Asanga received this teaching directly from Maitreya Buddha, okay? So in this lineage, there are many other practices, and also teaches the essence of Buddha, that everybody has the essence Buddha in our heart. It belongs to third turning wheel of Dharma, and this is also practiced by all other four other lineages in Tibet. Finding the lineage of blessings like Buddha Vajradhara, and comes through Telopa, and all the lineage of blessings. There are many other lineages, that transmitted from Buddha Vajradhara, Telopa, Marpa, Mela, even in other traditions. So these are the three different lineages Adisha combined into one lineage, which is called Kadamba, Kadamba tradition. Okay, so Atisha had three main disciples: Domten Jalre June, Kuten Tundu, Ngok Lake Bishop. I know these are difficult names in Tibetan, so it's okay if you don't remember when you have a book, so everything is there. So these are the three disciples of Atisha. Domten Jalre June. He is the one who actually became the main lineage order according to Kadamba tradition. I don't want to go into very much in detail all these lineages. Okay, now Kadamba, school has they call it 4 deity and 3 teachings that is very explained in the book. So this is the initiation that you're going to receive on Sunday, Buddha Shakyamuni, Avalokiteshvara, Tara, and we call it Miowa in one initiation. So these are the main deity according to Kadamba tradition. So now coming to the main discussion. In 11th century, there was a practitioner known as Chikawa. Chikawa, one day, he went to visit his friend. So this talks about how this practice came about. So, then when he visited his friend and he saw a piece of paper on the table, his friend's table, and then, he just read the word, the verses, It says, give all victory to others, take defeat for oneself. So when he read that, it's like it just throw him back. Who's saying this? So crazy, because this is not the norm of our society. Because our society say, take victory to oneself and give defeat to others. But this is totally opposite. Give all victory to others and take defeat for oneself. And then, Chikawa starts thinking, who said this? This is such a strange and unlogical, written this unlogical word. So then anyway, he thought, okay, I must meet this teacher, whoever said this. It seems a bit crazy, but I want to meet him. Are you okay? Chikawa, can you remember? When in a society, we always say, take success to oneself. And we always, advise, give failure to others. Failure to others, okay? But this is opposite. Keep failure for oneself and share success for others. Okay? So he looked for this master, whoever said this, So finally he learned that Langri Thangpa is the master, Kadamba, one of the Kadamba master known as Langri Thangpa, who has written this word. But then, when he finally found the place, Langri Thangpa was, he died long time back. So he couldn't make him. But then, Chikawa was able to make his student known as Sharawa. Chikawa was able to meet his student Sharawa. So under the guidance of Sharawa, Chikawa studied 12 years about the teaching that you're going to share shortly. So, and then, at the end, Sharawa was so impressed with Chikawa. And earlier, it was said, the practice was known as 8 points of mind training. So as a request of Sharawa, Chikawa was asked to make it into 7 points of mind training. So this is the teaching now I would like to share with you. It's all about Tonglen. We call it taking and sending, Tonglen. So you may find this teaching a bit difficult initially because we are not used to, but you don't have to worry. Like for instance, when I inhale, I take the suffering of others. So others become free of suffering. And when I exhale, I share my own success to others. And I know you will find, if I do that, I may get more sick, or I may end up with more failure. But it is not. The reason why we are training in such a technique is to overcome attachment to self, our ego, attachment to self, because these are the source of our suffering. So these are the teaching to help us to dismantle believing in I and my belonging. So simply try to, free yourself of imprisonment of attachment to self. Okay? It's not a teaching to punish us. It's not so easy. We are just training ourselves. You can't just take away suffering of others and share your success to others. It's not going to happen, But you are training yourself. If it's that so easy, by then now, Zambala will be totally bankrupt. Overcome your greed, attachment to self. But one day, when you reach such level, you will be so happy to take the suffering of others. By helping others, you are helping yourself. Like Buddha Shakyamuni, he always helped others, so he became a Buddha. We always help ourselves since Buddha Shakyamuni time, or maybe earlier, we are still sentient beings. So this is the difference. Yeah? It has 7 points and 59 sub-points. So now we begin, because it involves engaged meditation. So it's not just you are listening, but you are trying to retain. Because when you start to contemplate and meditate, you retain the information that I shared with you much more than just listening. So meditation helps us to retain and to be part of the practice process. So now I would like to request all of you to, of course you can't sit in full meditation posture, but as much as possible on the chair, you can have a look on the on the screen, yeah.
那么这个休息
不要说教啊。
不要睡觉啊。
I ask you to meditate, not to sleep. So okay, this posture for breathing techniques or any technique that you want to practice, this is the sitting posture that we always advise. There's very profound explanation why you have to sit in such posture. If I go through just briefly, when you sit in posture, 8 posture, it helps us to relax all the veins in our body. When our veins are relaxed, then all the energy, that wind that flows inside the vein will be very smooth and consistent. This helps us to, have less thought, and we are able to sit calm. We are able to calm ourselves, and we are able to sit longer. So there are many other reasons, but these are the main reasons why we have to sit in such posture. So we will try to sit in this posture, and then while we are discussing, I will explain. We need to spend 5 minutes, and try to observe and retain the discussion. Okay. I can leave the slides. There are 100 over slides. With Stephen, yeah? Stephen. So if you want this slide, you can get from him because it's a complete slides, okay? So Stephen can have it now. First, sit in full Vajra cross leg or half. You can't see, yeah? So you can sit like this, your leg, The right is extended, the left is withdrawn. Or you can sit like this, like Buddha Shakyamuni. Or you can sit like this, half Vajra cross leg. This is called how we sit up, okay? And make sure your spine is upright and straight. This is very important. Keep your spine upright and straight. Second, okay? Because if you sit like this, then you will fall asleep. Make sure you pull out yourself up. We'll go with that first. Okay, and your shoulder has to be well balanced. There shouldn't be any imbalance. You have to make sure that you sit like normally. Maybe hard for you. Normally, we do like this. Sit like this. Maybe it's difficult for you, so you can sit like this because then if it's so uncomfortable, then you can't really sit, so just sit like this, okay? Shoulder should be well balanced. That's the third point. The fourth point, your right hand on the palm of left, okay, like this, and touch thumbs together like this. Okay? Hold 4 inches below navel. Hold 4 inches below navel where all the energies are concentrated. Okay? So it will be looking.
那么第三呢，就是两肩闭。
You should bend your neck slightly. Bend your neck slightly. Not too much, just slightly. Okay? And tip of your nose and your navel should be in one line. Okay? And then you look about 16 inches of distance.
那么第五个呢，就是
And one part we see here, the eye, if you are practicing shamatha, breathing, then you can close your eye, you can close the eye, there's nothing wrong. But if you are seeing, looking at your mind, then normally, you look in the space like that. You are asked, in certain practices in Dzogchen, you are asked to look straight in the sky without closing your eye. So it depends on you, yeah? Okay? And then your lip, you should touch your tongue on the upper palate. Tongue gently. You don't have to do this, no, otherwise you may look like a makala. So just gently touch upper palate. So when you touch upper palate, there will be space between your two teeth, and then your lips should be slightly closed so you are able to breathe normally. Yeah.
那么
So breathe normally. Breathe normally. So I will use timer. Okay. Breathe normally.
那平常式的呼吸就是像我们一样，一般这样子平常呼吸。
There are few things that you have to remember. Meditation is not about how long I'm able to sit. Okay? Meditation is about how well I'm able to sit. Okay? One time somebody asked late Tenga Rinpoche, Venerable Tenga Rinpoche, he told Rinpoche that I'm able to sit 1 hour. I'm able to sit 1 hour in meditation. And what Tenga Rinpoche said is, wow. So you are better than me, so I should be making prostration to you. So you may be able to sit hours, but then you are always, in dullness, and there's lack of clarity, lack of focus, or you may remain in dullness. So this is not so useful. So meditation should be, focused, alert, and fully present. Okay? And, when you sit in meditation posture, doesn't mean that you are in meditation. What meditation means? As long as you know when thoughts are arising, as you know when the thoughts are ceasing, then even you are not sitting in meditation posture, you are in meditation. Or else you are not in meditation. So make sure that you are always protected, guided by mindfulness and awareness. Okay? So now what we will do is we will spend about 5 minutes on breathing, just to start with. And when you breathe, when you inhale, your mind and your breath may not go together, but you have to just think that, okay, when you inhale, you have to think that your mind, your breath is together. So it goes from your nostril right down 4 inches below your navel, and then you just hold 5 minutes. Oh no, not 5 minutes, few seconds, as long as you're possible. And then when you exhale, You just think, just think that your mind and your breath is coming out from nostril or mouth, about 16 inches. Then you count 1. Then you do like 7 times. Then you just stop for few minutes. Then you can do 7 times. You stop for a few minutes, and you do 7 times. And if you can do longer, then you can increase according to your ability. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. Okay, starting.
现在开始大家练习。
when you meditate, thought will arise, see, there's no problem at all. Once you drink that, once you try to get rid of all the thoughts, this will not happen, you know. But what will be more essential is to make sure that whenever thought arises, you notice. Whenever thought ceases, you notice. This is called meditation, okay? So now we need to visualize where is your guru. I will explain it, okay, now. Even Kadamba gurus, each session, you know, like these verses, you can spend on each verses maybe depends on you, maybe 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes every day, you know, or different session. So each verses you should sit and meditate. When you are practicing, you should always visualize Guru according to the Kadamba tradition. So you should visualize Guru on your crown. Okay, this will be the height. You know, from here to here. This is how we measure, you know. Here to here, Guru will be sitting on the top. Okay? Guru sitting on the beautiful lotus mundus, sometimes lying throne. And Guru represents triple gem. Okay? And Guru is smiling, not angry. Okay? Smiling. And Guru's heart is full of love and compassion. So that's what you need to visualize. Okay? So once you visualize, so Guru will melt into fluid or light and angels from your crown, and Guru will reside inside your heart. So heart is like made of light. Okay, light encompassed in a circle of light. Okay, and then Guru is sitting on the shape of half egg. If you cut half egg into half, and the half portion is facing upward, so Guru is sitting inside your heart, and then you should practice. So when you begin the session, instead of spending time on breathing, you can also visualize your Guru. So once you visualize your Guru, once you recite Guru inside your heart, and then the practice that you should be engaging is about four ordinary foundation. You know, precious human body, impermanent, cause and effect of samsara. So you should spend few minutes focus on all this meaning, and try to observe and try to retain and make sure that you become a part of the discussion. You know, for instance, when you watch movie, comedy movie, you will have the effect. You laugh. Sometimes you know why you laugh. You know. And then when you watch a ghost movie, you know, you have all the goosebumps, then you scream, you know. So you have the effect, you know. Similarly, so this kind of effect should be there. When you practice in precious human body, you should feel why it's so precious, you know. I think you have gone through all this training, you know, for ordinary foundation, so I don't like to go into so much of detail. In fact, I'm always referring to this book. The finale is coming December. This time we went through all the details and it's edited well. So finally you will have this book. And from next year, who have completed 4 ordinary foundation, I'll be having another session and beside all other teachings to share with this from this book. So this, books explain that we may finish the numbers, 10,000, actually 100,000, but then I cut it down to 10,000 because if I say to you, you have to do 100,000, oh my gosh, I give up. Before you start, you give up already. So I don't want you to discourage you. So at least if we can finish, it's something. Yeah, 10,000 is something. So but what this book actually explains is you may just finish the number, but actual realization of Four Foundation comes to end when you become a Buddha. So therefore, Four Foundation is not just for beginners. It goes up until the Buddhahood. Okay. 我真的是了。So, okay, precious human body. I don't need to explain this much because you know what precious means here. We have this body, we can transform into Buddhahood. Compared to other forms of body, they can't. Okay? But us, our human body, and particularly your body, I can at least confidently say that you possess precious human body because firstly, you believe in Buddha Dharma. Secondly, you are practicing. So these are the signs that who possess precious human body. Okay, there's so many explanations. Why our body is so precious. Compared to other forms of life, human being is very little. Then, if you compare someone who meet with the Dharma, who practices Dharma, and particularly who have a devotion to Dharma, is very few, very few. Therefore, human body is very, very precious. So we should be very proud that we have this precious human body. Now, is that enough? No, it's not enough. Why? Because impermanence. We never know when we're going to lose it. Nothing remains forever. We cannot say that, oh, I'm young, I will live long. No. Sometimes younger one goes, earlier than the older ones. Senior one. So nobody can guarantee that we will have this forever. So Buddha said, when you know about impermanence, it really helps you a lot in life. You are able to accept changes easily. You are able to accept ups and downs in life. You are able to even accept death, which is the most fearful thing to all of us. When we do not accept impermanence, then we are living in a different world. And this world is very artificial. But when you live in the life of impermanence, this is the real world. So we have to slowly try to understand what impermanent means. Like for instance, when I first came to Singapore, everybody said, Rinpoche, you are so young, you are so young. Now nobody says to me. They look at me, they don't say anything. This is impermanent, this is the part of life, and so you have to just accept and move on. Yes, true, thank God. Okay, so there's a lot. I have also a book on this, Open Door to Dharma for beginners. I explain a lot about this part. So I think also you can read a book called Words of My Perfect Teacher. Explains a lot about this discussion. So I'd like to just leave it here. And the third part is cause and effect. Again, this is very important part of learning because sometimes we don't know why we go through all the trouble. Because we don't know that we have done something wrong. So the consequences of any action will always follow us. Okay? So if your action is an act of non-virtue, then we have to face the consequences of a lot of discomfort, failure, a lot of suffering in life. When you engage in act of virtue, then we enjoy beautiful life, we enjoy happiness, we enjoy success, we enjoy meaningful life. So, no matter how many year or ages passes, the consequences will definitely, we will experience. Sometimes we may think, after many years, the karmic connection maybe just disappears, so I may not have to go through all the consequences. But that's not true. The computer system, the program is very, very good and very perfect. Even 100 years, you will still, face the consequences. So, what I would like to say briefly is make sure that whatever you say verbally, whatever you physically do, whatever mentally you think, one has to make sure that you're doing right thing, because you will face the consequences, good or bad. So you have to be very careful. So when you meditate, you have to think about this topic, this discussion, precious human body, impermanent, cause and effect, So this will really help you to retain and be part of you, so you are very careful of doing things. Finally, effect of samsara. We call this place a home, sweet home. But when you really think, this is the place where all the problem begins. So Buddha says samsara. Samsara means we call it cyclic existence. It is the circle of rebirth, old age, sickness, and death. And when you think about life, from morning until you go to bed, the worries, the trouble that you have to take is overweighs than the happiness you have. So in terms of happiness, we have very little happiness, and according to Buddha, we are not supposed to have so much happiness in samsara, because we are in samsara. So for this reason, why we are practicing is to free ourselves from this place, so where we can be free from all the suffering by avoiding all the wrong act of evil. Okay, so this topic we have been discussing so much, so I don't like to elaborate now. I would like to discuss the main points here. So far, do you have any questions? The teaching is until 9:30. 9:30, is it? Huh? I forgot.
10 o'clock.
Huh?
What is the time for this teaching? 10.
For 10 now. Okay. Any question? We have question answer, then we go through a little bit.
你们可以自己做。
没有问题了，没有问题。
有吗？现在上次给你们时间问问题。
Now this part is very, very profound. Okay, this part is profound and sometimes a bit hard to understand. And I would say this is what we teach in Mahamudra. This is what you learn from practice of Dzogchen. Nothing more than that what we learn. So one cannot say the 7 points of mind training is just for beginner. No, it is very, very profound. And especially when you spend time and practice, you will find it's really, really profound. Okay, so 7 points, preliminaries that we have I shared with you about visualization of Guru and 4 ordinary foundation. And you should try to make it a session. So you may spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day and think about all these points. You may spend some time visualizing your Guru. You may spend some time just focus on precious human body, impermanent, cause and effect, or effect of samsara. So you can make few sessions. That's how you can spend your time. Okay. So now, before we could really, observe this meaning, So we spend another 5 minutes, okay? This time, don't count your breathing. Just look in the front, okay? Just look in the front. Let your thought arise and cease. Don't be bothered. Just keep looking in the front, okay?
那么现在我们再来做一个练习请大家把这个姿势调整做禅坐姿势。那么我们花5分钟的时间。现在呢，这个禅定呢，我们不需要注视你的呼吸，呼进呼出，这个不需要。最重要的是注意你的意念的升跟起落，你的念起跟念落。那么这个当下呢，你怎么样的去把它不要被它干扰？就是当那个念起的时候，你也不要管它；这个念走掉了，你也不要去追它。那在这个当下呢，我们禅定5分钟。
You know, we say our mind is like a monkey, but actually monkey is calmer, much calmer than our mind. We just play monkey. Monkey is very mischievous, but our mind may be 10 times more mischievous than monkey. Okay? So that's how our mind is so active. Okay? So in order to achieve calmness, meditation is best tool to tame or to help our mind rest. So this is what we are doing. Don't visualize anything, don't think anything. Let your thought arise, let your thought cease. Okay, there's nothing wrong. Like our mind is like a prisoner. Okay? Prisoner, if you put him to the prisoner will always try to run from the prisoner. Okay? So the moment if you free prisoner will never try to run away because you are already free. So similarly, the more you try to control our mind, more try to restrict our mind, the mind becomes more agitated and becomes more active. So in order to achieve calmness, best way is to let your mind be free, but at the same time be watchful. Like your children, you know, you cannot hold your children whole like whole day, you may start having egg, everywhere. So you let your children run around, but make sure that you watch, keep watch, so the children doesn't get hurt. Okay? So this is how we should be, this is how we should deal with our mind. Okay? One time, Sarona, who was a Veena player, in India, who was that? One of the Buddha's cousins, I forgot it. During Buddha's time, Rahula, I think, not Rahula. I couldn't remember now. Anyway, so he was teaching meditation to, and then he couldn't really meditate. Sarona couldn't meditate at all because the reason was he was sometimes too loose, sometimes too strict to himself. So he couldn't really meditate. So, I think Shariputra, and then he gave up, and he went to Buddha and said to Buddha that I tried to teach him. I couldn't help him because he was not able to meditate well. So Buddha, of course, Buddha knows how to overcome such problems. So Buddha said, okay. He said, how you play this veena, guitar, the Indian traditional guitar. He said that the string cannot be too tight and cannot be too slick, or else one may not have a good sound. So the string has to be just right. And then Buddha, that's what you needed. You cannot be too strict to yourself. You cannot be too free to yourself. Try to find the right balance. This way you will see the success, okay? This is how we need to meditate, Don't try to push it. then you may look like a zombie. Okay, so don't push yourself too hard. Okay, relax. You have to be very relaxed. Very relaxed. Doctor said, 放松. Yeah, meditation, we need a lot of 放松 here. Okay? Okay. 5分钟. 我们睡觉5分钟. Okay, among the 7 points, preliminaries, we have just discussed. Now is the main part, the second point, which is practice bodhicitta, training in bodhicitta. There's an ultimate training, training in ultimate bodhicitta, training in relative bodhicitta. So now it discusses briefly on training in ultimate bodhicitta, which is profound and some part may be a bit difficult for you to grasp. But this is what we actually learn in Mahamudra, even in Dzogpa Chenpo, you know, Dzogchen. Actual practice, training in bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, regard all phenomena as dream. Regard all phenomena as dream. So now, this is what also in Mahamudra we initially learned about this discussion. You know, we should see life as an illusion, not as real. Even to see what we are seeing now, there are many factors are involved, or else we may not see all these things. So many gurus explain, or even Buddha said, the difference between our life and dream is very short, so we know it's not real. The reason that our life is too long, the moment when you come to know it, you are already no more, you know. So for this reason, we are not able to accept and compare. So, you know, one can logically prove that what you are seeing externally is not real. It is simply the projection of our mind because of ignorance. You know, we are just seeing illusion. Like for instance, you know, when you watch movie, sometimes you were excited, sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you enjoy. And we never think that, is this real or unreal? We just enjoy. The moment you start to investigate, anybody will know it's not real. You know, it involves so many factors. It involves film, electricity, screen, projector. Without all this, you cannot really see the movie. Okay, which means it's not real. It's hard, but I think slowly you will understand, you know.
那么在
The reflection of moon in the lake, you can see, but you cannot really touch it because the actual moon is not there. You know, what we see externally is simply our mind has projected. That what you see is the projection of our mind. Like for instance, you know, you may live in a one apartment, there's no problem, you find it very, very good apartment, you live happily, there's no problem at all. And then one day your friend comes and says, oh, I saw something moving around your apartment. You know? Then once your friend leaves, you start seeing something moving. And then you start hearing noises. And one day you will really feel that something is there, you know. So even though something is not there, simply you have created, your mind has created something there, so you become very fearful. So according to Buddha, there are many signs where you can prove that logic, that things do not exist externally. Like for instance, another example. we call one big object a car, a car. Because why we call car is because we put so many parts put together and we call it car. The moment when you remove every part of the car, and if you place on different places, you will never find a car. So once you put together, your mind simply, think, oh, this is the car. Your mind simply, your ignorance simply labels this object as a car. But it doesn't mean that car exists inherently. That's great. But it's good. It's good. You need to think a lot, Even for us, it took a lot of time for us to understand, So the more you think about, put thought in this, the better you will be, you will understand clearer. So the more you investigate, and you may have a question, how come if mind is created, then how come it's solid? How come we can touch? So when our belief gets stronger, we solidify things. Like for instance, like water is fluid. Water is fluid. It is movable. It's fluid. It's not never like as hard as like stone. But when even water meet with a condition, it becomes solid, hard as stone, like ice. Yeah. If the water is frozen, it becomes ice, and it becomes hard as ice. Okay, so without the water you cannot find ice. Without the ice you cannot find water separately. So water has become ice. Okay, so the moment the ice melts, it becomes a water. So even mind, gradually, even though it projected by mind, when time goes by, when our belief gets stronger, then we see things solidified. That's what we are seeing now. So, we can go on and on and on this subject, Now, everything, okay, things does not exist externally. Does mind exist? No. Mind does not have inherent existence. So, if there is so-called mind, so now we have to look for a mind, where this mind is. Okay? Because we cannot prove where this mind comes from. We cannot prove where this mind goes at the end. We cannot prove where the mind is now. Okay? If there is so-called mind, then what is the color of? This is what exactly in Mahamudra. This is the technique that you use and more elaborately. If there is a mind, what is the color of mind? If there's a color, what is the shape of mind? How does mind look like? Okay, we spend days, months, and years just looking at this point, So what I would like to do now, I would like to leave it here. We will continue tomorrow, and we will spend at least 5 minutes now looking at the mind. Okay? So it's definitely not outside. It has to be inside. If it's outside, then we are not anymore here standing here. Yeah? So it has to be inside. Where this, and we need to look. And yogis, they spend ages to look for a mind, look for a mind. And you cannot say, oh, yeah, I found myself, maybe outside. No, it doesn't work. You need to really, keep looking. And one day you may find nowhere, or you may never find it. Maybe that is the fact, Or you may find it, So That is for your homework, okay? So, whenever you have free time, you should look for your mind, okay? This is your homework, and now we spend 5 minutes just to warm up, okay? Then later you can keep looking. Okay, I'll like to leave it here. If you don't have a question now, we still have tomorrow. You can think about this tomorrow afternoon, yeah? And also day after tomorrow, what two sessions. So two more and day after tomorrow. So leave it here.
So 今天晚上。